All right, so here we go. So yes, the Space Marine 2 dev team just replied about what's going on around Space Marine 2. Guess what? We got some brand new teases about gameplay enhancements, but what does this exactly mean? What it's going to look like for Space Marine 2? And also, we have got to talk about the dev team getting called out for one thing that is still not fixed in the game currently, or at least some players feel like there was some sort of sneaky, stealthy nerf done to this portion of the game. We're going to also talk about customization options, something to look forward to in the future if you did actually miss out on this. Plus, could we be seeing brand new siege mode maps? It's been a big question. We're going to talk about that as well. Plus, we got some new replies from the dev team on the ideas section for Space Marine 2. You guys may remember that they do have this focus ideas website up. Well, we got confirmation as to what we can expect from that, and also what is confirmed to not be happening for Space Marine 2. And yes, I'm going to be going over your top comments, so be sure to leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. But I say we hop into this right here. The dev team gets called out here. Says this: any info about block plus parry bonus, reposit, victim debuff, interactions? Since you guys released a hotfix that didn't fix it, you guys either don't care about it or decided to stealth nerf it. Either way, it's a meta decision, and at least we need official confirmation whether it's a bug or intended change. So, whoa, shots fired there. And here's the response from our community management team. Again, they are in touch with the dev team. Here we go. It says, I see it labeled as a bug, so I guess it will be fixed at some point. And eventually, I think we'll work our way to 100% confirmation whether this will end up in a hotfix, an update, or what have you. But you got to remember that update 9.0 is going to be all about those balance updates, fixes, and that sort of thing. So I would imagine that it would end up in update 9. And there's a big portion of the community that still feels like they're missing out on a big champion skin. Check it out right here. I think it's about time that this should be purchasable for at most $10 instead of having to rebuy the $110 version of the game. My mistake for not spending an extra $10 when I bought the game, but this should seriously be available now as a separate DLC. I can see how it's hard to decide what to do with it, as it's an exclusive and then would make the Ultra Edition possibly obsolete, but at least let gold owners upgrade for $10. Well, guess what? This was also asked out on the official Discord. Speaking of the Ultra Edition of the game, will you guys ever sell the Ultramarines champion skin separately? We got some good news today. That's very likely at some point, yes. So, for those of you that are really bummed that you missed out on that, don't worry. Eventually, somehow, you will be able to purchase that, apparently separately. We'll most likely be finding out exactly how that will work in the future, so stay tuned. Now, next up, we have this question right here. Can we get more siege maps, and will the players be able to play as Titans in siege mode? Great questions there. Here's the response. Maybe if you like the mode. So it looks like right now they're waiting it out, seeing how popular siege mode is, how much of the player base is returning to play Space Marine 2 for siege mode and staying in this mode to determine whether or not they want to build entirely brand new maps around siege mode, which I think they should. I think that'd be very, very cool. But I leave it to you guys. Would you prefer for them to double down on operations mode in terms of introducing brand new maps to that? Or do you think they should bounce back and forth between operations mode and siege mode when it comes to brand new maps? Sound off. I'm curious your take on this one. Now, someone had an idea of what they would like to see. I love this mode. I want Avarax, Demirium, and a Chaos Siege map as well. Please and thank you. Yeah, let me know what type of maps you guys would like to see. But at the very least, this was confirmed recently. There will be gameplay additions to the Horde mode in the future. So this isn't it for the Horde mode. They really do plan to update it as we go. I'm kind of curious to see what they mean by brand new gameplay additions. It would be cool to see, I gotta say, different types of reinforcements. I know that we've mentioned tanks would be nice to see, but that's the sort of thing that I would love to see because I love those big battlefield type experiences. Now, also we have this right here. Can we make the sparring arena into a PvE testing arena? That would be very cool to test out perks, weapon handling, all sorts of cool stuff there. And guess what? I think Saber wanted to improve the sparring area at some point, as confirmed here by the community management team from Focus. So it looks like that we'll be getting some sort of update in the future. So perhaps, maybe, just maybe, we will be able to goof around with perks and that sort of thing in the sparring arena for at least like PvE type stuff, which would be really neat. Now, also out on the Focus Ideas website, there were some ideas that were kind of shot down, and also some ideas that they're kind of mulling around and considering. So let's dive into that right now. So team finishers, check it out. It would be badass if there were 2 or 3 man finishers on enemies. That'd be very, very cool. However, this is considered out of vision by the dev team. As confirmed here, it says, "Hi Juice, we're not planning on making team finishers for the moment, but thank you for suggesting this idea anyway." Damn, I gotta say, that would have been very, very cool to see in Space Marine 2, but maybe, just maybe, we could hold out hope that something like that would eventually make its way into the franchise, maybe like Space Marine 3. All right, next up, we have this one right here. Let players spend requisition on their equipment, such as grenades, at the start of operations. And they go on to say this: have an option to allow people to spend requisition points at the beginning of an operation on getting equipment of their choice for the operation. This is actually very cool. I'm thinking principally of grenades. Allow people to spend out their requisition points so they can choose to start with shocks or cracks or melta rather than just frags. This will let people build more reliably around skills and perks which buff equipment damage or refund equipment if kill conditions are met, potentially increasing build diversity in many classes. This could also potentially be expanded to allow people to buy a single stim pack before the mission with the requisition to make things easier for people struggling to clear a specific operation. Now, this is a really cool idea. However, I do wonder if some of the dev team would be like, it would kind of get rid of exploration at the beginning of an operation where you do have to go out into the map space and try to seek out these items. I know how you guys are feeling about this, but overall it seems like a lot of people really like this idea. Now, they go on to say this: it also leave the door open to having a requisitionable item in the future, which could make life harder in an operation. Something like a penitent seal, which makes it impossible to remove wounds, but provides some other type of reward on mission completion, such as bonus XP. Now, that's a pretty cool twist right there. I have to say, that'd be very cool. As it stands currently, requisition points are a bit too limited in their application and too abundant in their acquisition. Allowing spending requisition at the beginning of missions would open up new builds and playstyles, allow newer or struggling players a way to bridge a difficulty gap, and potentially be a route to provide a challenge to more experienced players. I do love this idea, and guess what? They marked it as nice to have. They go on to say this: "Hi Acropa, we could consider your idea a little bit further in the development process, but we cannot promise you this will be implemented. However, this is a really interesting idea, so we'll keep that in mind. Thank you, smiley face." So they didn't shoot down this idea completely. They're mulling it over, but sound off if you guys really want to see something like this in the future in Space Marine 2. I gotta say, it sounds pretty cool and would open up options, and most importantly, keep veteran players interested in different play styles that they could experiment with. And there was also a discussion about the Assault class, more specifically when it comes to Siege mode. Check it out right here. I was going to say this: Assault is a powerhouse in Siege, but it's missing one crucial thing. First of all, do you agree that Assault is a powerhouse in Siege mode? Now, they go on to say this: yeah, I know, sounds like a clickbait headline, one weird trick Assault mains don't want you to know, but honestly, it's not far off. Playing Assault has always been a bit of a struggle, high risk, low forgiveness, and often a quick dirt nap for your audacity. You get kicked from a group finder sometimes for no real reason, and deep down, you figure it's because people see your class and think, why not just bring a Bulwark or a Vanguard with a Melta instead? But you ignore that. Don't let them see you cry Assault brothers. You hit the skies, you dive into the heretics where they are the most, where the nids are packed tightly. You get tossed around, probably eat a venom can mid-fly and burn through your stim packs like a crack addict snorts Peruvian marching powder. And despite all that, you contribute because the Assault toolkit actually works. It just asks more from you than some other classes to make an impact. Then Siege mode drops, and everything clicks. Ground pound becomes a wrecking ball when you perk it to recharge on kills. You can chain it across waves, thinning hordes like nothing else. For once, assault feels like the force it was meant to be. You get to bring the Emperor's wrath from the heavens. But siege also highlights the biggest issue. There's no self-sustain, no healing loop. You lead the charge, but once you're in, you've got nothing to keep you going but sweat and hatred for the foes of mankind. And sometimes that's enough, but sometimes it's not. If Assault had something like that Vanguard's Adrenaline Rush, the perk that heals around 5% on Majora's melee kills, it would complete the class. Even a small perk that boosts stim healing would make a huge difference, stretching Medicaid kits further and protecting your precious globals. Right now is the best time to play Assault and feel powerful, but if it had one well-placed self-heal mechanic, even one tied to ground pound kills, or another jump pack focused trigger, it wouldn't just feel good, it would feel finished. If you're not playing Assault much, try it on Siege. So, how do you guys feel about this? Do you think Assault is deserving of some sort of healing mechanic when it comes to combat? I think that would be absolutely badass. Would make a lot of sense when it comes to playing in Siege mode to keep Assault in the mix, in the battle. So we'll see what Saber says about this one, but this post does have 519 upvotes. We did get an interesting take, an interesting reply here. Check it out. Jump pack dodge should be totally free with a short cooldown, like 10 seconds or so. Jump should be up to 3. The Assault class with a jump pack feels like it's less mobile than the Vanguard, which just isn't right. Even on the tabletop, they move further than any other Marine. Once again, we're hearing that common complaint that the jump pack should be updated. And I think it stems from how powerful and how the jump pack feels in single player campaign mode. So yeah, there's still that concern for sure. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up in a future video. And also, if you are new, welcome aboard. Don't forget to smack that subscribe button. We'd love to have you join the OWG Army, but let's get into this right now. We have, I shall not simplify the rights as there is a tech marine among you. We got some replies here. Does that mean that part of the level will get longer or harder with a tech marine? I wonder now. Yeah, it definitely does seem like they are teasing something around the tech marine even more. And also, they've been teasing the tech marine this entire time. Now, next up we have, cannot wait to make my Space Wolf Iron Priest wielding his power axe in the name of the Allfather. Year 2 is gonna be epic. September cannot arrive soon enough. I cannot wait to dig into the new customization options. That one thing I think will bring back a lot of players. I'm hoping also Year 2 brings us some sort of subclass options to really let other players know that, hey, you can play as your favorite class. You do not have to worry really too much about duplicates anymore, because I think that has been one thing that has thrown off a lot of players, and they go, I don't have to deal with that in Helldivers 2. I'm just going to stick with Helldivers 2. But having that big announcement that, hey, you know, there would be subclasses or something like that would be huge for this game if that's something they do pursue. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers that that is a thing. Now, we also have this one. I really wanted Blood Angels to get an Assault class champion, since it would make sense since they are known for our assaults. This got 167 upvotes. Can you imagine them introducing something like that and then also updating the Assault class on top of that? That would be perfect. That would be an absolute badass move on Saber's part. So Saber, make it happen. But there it is, guys. The latest happenings around Space Marine 2. I promise to keep you guys in the know and update about all things Space Marine 2. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support on the videos. As always, look out for more. Thanks guys for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.